that I did not hear you answer is the Long Hollow Pond, is that man-made?
Yes, it is man-made.
Because it does look on the Google Earth like there is some sort of a stream that flows into it from the north?
There is a stream that flows into it from the north, and that's where the water, the storm water comes from the northern end up into the county near the jail site.
Okay. And the other thing is, has anybody followed the money trail, why the city is trying so hard to hang on to this darn tower and to be so accommodating? Why do they care? That just blows my mind. I don't understand. Thank you.
$600 a month for 6.5 acres. Don't you wish the waterfront could, they wish they could have had that for that. The city parks department is mowing the grass every week, so you tell me how much it would cost to mow the grass for 6.5 acres every week. It's a losing situation for the city of Pensacola. We don't know. We followed the money trail. We found the illegal campaign contribution because as a not-for-profit, not-for-profits cannot donate to political campaigns, and they did. During an election season, no one is tape recording 24 hours of radio stations, so you don't know how many campaign ads were on these radio stations, and it was not just one radio station. He is illegally subleasing to at one time up to 4 other for-profit radio stations that the city council did not know anything about in violation of his lease agreement. So who knows if there's a phone call saying, hey, my buddy, we got this good deal on this tower, he's running for office. We don't know. We don't know if it's just a matter of this was a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does. But we've got to have the leadership to say, I made a mistake, and let's fix it. So a whole year has gone by with the News Journal and Rick saying, God, council, fix this mistake. Enough. But no one wants to fix it. No one wants to say they're sorry. And that's where I'm trying to come in. I don't want anyone to go to jail. I don't want to see anybody thrown out of office. I'm coming at this from a place of love of a neighborhood and a city. And until we start correcting the mistakes of the past, we can't move forward. And that's what we want to do. We want to move forward. And Pam?
I heard you say that the jail area, this comes from where the jail is.
Yes.
Does this issue impact the selection of the new jail site in the current area? Is one of the things I think under consideration, which had major flooding issues which led to the explosion at the old jail site. And what is the county's role in any of this, if anything?
Well, the county hasn't been really involved, even though a lot of this water that's coming into our pond is from the county. I mean, if you look at that site at Palafox and Brent Lane, where the Burger King was, and how all that flood water and then the jail, all of that water is coming down into this pond, which is why it's so critical to make sure it's working at capacity. We need to add more ponds, not take away ponds. But yes, and Mary Gutierrez, she can talk more about that because she's on the Citizens Committee, the SWAT team, looking at these types of issues from a city and county perspective of what we can do better. Okay, lady behind Pam, right there.
So since the ordinance actually says once the tower comes down, you can't build a new one, when it was bombed, doesn't that negate the lease at that point?
It should have. It should have. And the moment we saw construction going in, we found a land use attorney to represent us. We were going to file an injunction to stop the building of the tower. But in order to file an injunction, we had to have a building permit. And they never issued another building permit once George Biggs left the job. The only permit they issued was a repair to code, which is, if you've ever gotten a permit, it's kind of like a board-for-board replacement. The city at this point is still trying to play this game that he's only maintaining what he already had. There's no new tower here. There's no new tower. So there was never a building permit that was put in. So we couldn't file an injunction. Yes, lady in the red leather jacket.
This relates to a question back here. This relates to a question that Robin asked. I'm interested in the story behind the story. What do you believe to be the real source of Church's power and influence? Is it something as simple as campaign money to the mayor, or is it deeper and broader than that?
I don't know, and everything that we have brought you and everything that you can get a link to if you give us your email address, all the actual documents, everything that we've tried to present is fact-based on a public record. So I don't want to get into any of that because I don't know. The only person that could tell us this would be a federal investigator, and we have met with a federal investigator about this issue. They're the only people that have the subpoena power, them and the state attorney, the subpoena power to actually go in and get those records. I know I have tried to get financial records on this, which was our right as a citizen under their lease agreement, and we weren't able to. I know Maureen DeWeese, she spent weeks trying to get copies of financial records, and she had found out and published the part about how they're not even a legal not-for-profit because they're not being run according to their own bylaws. So I don't want to speculate because I really think it's important as a researcher is to just go by the facts. You know, everything that we have a public record on.
I hope the media is looking into that aspect of it and beyond money.
They really have been. Rick Outson with the Independent News and the Pensacola News Journal, they have really dug into this story and they have been a great help. And that's what it's going to take because they're not going to care what a couple of people in a moderate income neighborhood think. They're going to care about what you think, what you think is a collective. That's why, like I said, the stormwater doesn't know a neighborhood. It's just going to flow on down and keep damaging all the way down. So that's why we wanted to come here today, and public speaking is not my thing. It's very terrifying for me, but what's more terrifying for me is what will happen to my friends and my neighbors and the businesses that we have all as a collective worked so hard to support for this downtown renaissance. And we're not, there's only so many times that the 10 cal can be flooded out before they leave. You know, these are small independent businesses. We have to work together. There's a question back here, lady in the red.
In the beginning, I thought this was an issue of environmental justice. I'm thinking, moderate income, low income neighborhood and so forth. The IHMC is building a different kind of building because they don't want to be flooded.
Exactly.
The houses in Aragon, those are not low income houses.
No.
The stuff downtown that Quint Studer is building, that's not low income.
No.
So what is wrong with this picture? What am I not getting?
Well, where our issue began, where our research began, was in the Long Hollow neighborhood. That's where it began, in a moderate income neighborhood. And once we started researching it and learning more about the stormwater and about these massive collection systems, that's when we realized that yes, it's coming from low income areas into moderate, into high income levels. And that's why it's so important for us to come and meet with as many groups as we can to let you know. I mean, because not everyone in Aragon knows that Long Hollow Pond supports them. You know, they didn't know that. Okay,
One more
question, and I've already talked to you, but you can ask us by email anything you want. Did you have your hand up? Okay.
First of all, thank you for everything you've done. And my question is personal for you. I really don't know that you'll have an answer, but I am curious. Are you more offended by the dishonesty, the political entitlement, or the fact that they've treated you with such disdain as if you are just ignorant? I mean, which one keeps you most awake at night?
I have forgiven Eric Olson. I did public records requests, and I saw that on his phone records before he called my boss's boss to try to have me fired. The phone call before that phone call was to the mayor's office. It was a very quick phone call. I assume it was something to the tune of, "Are we on for this? Because I'm ready to make the call." You know, so I have forgiven in my heart Eric Olson, and I have forgiven the mayor. Like I said, not any of us are perfect, but this is not about, you know, this is about fixing the problem. We have got to stop dancing around who did what, and we've got to fix the problem. That's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of love in my heart for my neighbors, and I look out in this room and I see a lot of neighbors and a lot of neighborhoods that I've worked with, and I love neighborhoods. This is where we live, this is where we're home, and I'm so glad that Michelle McNeil, I see her now in the audience, and she's been one of my role models. She was one of the first people I met in my neighborhood, and thanks to her, we turned a parking lot into a park. We've brought new workforce housing into our neighborhood. We've brought an art center into our neighborhood. We've brought a coffee place, a bookstore. You know, we keep seeding in all these good things, and that's where I'm coming from, is a love of place. And I love my city, and I'm willing to do whatever I can, and I have done that as a volunteer, and I will continue to do that. But nothing keeps me up at night except I wish I had more time, and I wish I could do more for my city, because I love my city, and I love my neighbors, and I really appreciate all of you guys coming out on a rainy day and giving up lunch. Oh my gosh, giving up lunch to come here. So thank you, and there's a sign-up sheet in the back. If you want links to all our documents, we would love to share those with you. We will put you on our mailing list. We will keep in touch with you and let you know what happens on this issue. But again, I just can't thank you enough for coming today and being involved in your city.
Thank you all for coming. The meeting is adjourned. The speakers are available for personal questions, but we have a promise to IHMC that we vacate this room by 1:15. So please help us honor our commitment to IHMC. Thank you.